competition of it. And I know, what the environment is going to be like. It's just the competition of playing in the game.
Well, good evening, one and all. Welcome into another edition of the Corey Sanning Show. I'm your host, yours truly, coming at you live from good old Knoxville, Tennessee, on a warm and sunny day that I spent most of the time indoors. So make fun of me if you will. Thank you all for tuning in. Those of you that have tuned in before, welcome back. Those of you that are tuning in for the first time, welcome. Do me a favor if you could. Migrate over to the YouTube channel. Please hit subscribe. Comment to boost the algorithm on both this video and the channel. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and most importantly, be sure to hit that notification bell button to get notified of when we drop our daily live content here at the Corey Sanning Show. Well, not all of it's live, but you get what I'm saying. Daily content. Got a little bit of a sports jam-packed show for you today. 7 years ago today, I fulfilled one of my lifelong dreams, particularly growing up as a Miami Heat fan, of interviewing Dwyane Wade in his final season in Charlotte. I'll show you all those videos and reflect on our time there. It was actually a pretty hectic trip. If my friend that went with me, his name's Study Boy, as we call him, Jay, is in the comments. He'll let you know as well. Going to reflect on that experience, just my time as a sports reporter, how I got the idea to even give this a try. And we're also going to get into some Isaiah Likely business. Obviously, Isaiah Likely appeared on the Up and Adams show this morning with Kay Adams and had a lot of interesting comments regarding his upcoming free agency and his potential of a return to Baltimore, probably an outside-looking in shot, but he addressed that as well as playing with Lamar Jackson and what he's looking forward to with his next team, whomever that may be. We also heard from The Athletic, and we're going to react to that in an article later on by Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio. But according to The Athletic, those in Raiderland are not happy with the presence of Tom Brady's trainer, coach, wellness, whatever guru you want to call him, Alex Guerrero, causing problems in Vegas just like he did in New England or just like he does anywhere he goes. So we'll address that among other topics as well. So this episode is brought to you by VIP Play Tennessee. We'll get into that in a second. It's our first sportsbook sponsor app here on the show. Use code CoreyTN, that's CORYTN, to get $100 in bonus bets back on your first $20 wager. With March Madness around the corner, it's looking to get heating up with college basketball as well as more NBA action down the stretch. So first off and foremost, the topic of the show and what we're leading with. You saw it. I interviewed D. Wade. Probably one of my favorite little tidbits on my resume from my time as a legacy media reporter that I look back on fondly. I look back on a lot of the memories fondly, but this is something that I'll never regret as long as I live, because ultimately when I was younger, about probably 14 or 15, I had made a goal. That goal was to interview the big three from my childhood as a basketball fan. That big three consists of D. Wade, Kobe, and LeBron. Those were the three mammoth titans, as you will, from about 2008 to 2011, whenever I first heavily started watching basketball, as in watching every regular season game, which I couldn't even fathom doing anymore. So Give you a little backstory on this story. What had happened was I was a men's basketball beat writer. It was my second straight year on the beat for the Daily Beacon, which is the University of Tennessee's editorially independent student newspaper. So we get to write and publish as we please. No censorship from UT itself. This was a sly move on my part, and I tell the story about this all the time because I was always one step ahead of the curve. I mean, say what you want about me and my time in legacy media. I tried to stay ahead of the beat. And what that meant was I always was trying to think outside the box to write stories that you wouldn't necessarily get anywhere else. So what did that lead to? How on earth could I think of a way to tie the University in Tennessee into the Miami Heat to gain permission from my editors to request a credential to a either Miami Heat game, or it ended up being a Miami Heat shoot around that morning in Charlotte? Well, at the time, Josh Richardson was an ascending player on the Heat. Those of you that remember that 2015, 2016 Heat squad, all the way up until 2019, Josh Richardson was on the come up. Josh Richardson was turning into a very good three-point shooter, a very good 3-and-D guy, was very athletic, had hops, could defend. Looked like he could possibly be in the future running for Sixth Man of the Year or even a bubble all-star. Who knows? Maybe he's a little steep on the ladder, but you got that impression at the time. At the time, Tennessee basketball had been number one for 5 consecutive weeks, and all eyes were on Tennessee. Those we remember the one fly, we all fly. Miami had actually done that as a shout-out to Jay Rich. And given his ascension and giving our need for more non-gamer, non-notebook stories, more feature stories, I suggested to the editors, hey, why not go for it? Why not go talk to Jay Rich one-on-one, which I got to do, and then get some perspectives from his coaching staff and his teammates. Obviously, Dwyane Wade, one of the 3 greatest shooting guards ever, one of the best leaders in the history of basketball. What better perspective could we have from him? And then Eric Spoelstra, who was named recently one of the top 15 greatest coaches ever. At the time, he wasn't, but I felt he was well on his way. So, editors approved it. They thought it was a great idea. Tom Satkowiak helped me get in touch with Michael Lissack. I believe I'm saying your name right, man. If I'm not, I do apologize. It's been a while. With the Miami Heat, who got me access to shoot around that morning. And we actually ended up even buying tickets to the game. My friend Jay and I, when we went, he was actually the only reason I made it, because at the time I didn't have a car. And shout out Jay and your Dodge Charger for getting me to Charlotte in time. We did have a bit of a hiccup on the way back, but we made it. That's all that mattered. So, go in. We get to this seedy hotel, and we don't even know what part of Charlotte we're in, because we'd never been there before. And Dixie, heaven help dogs getting on the counter. And we had trouble finding our room. They sent us to a room that had already been booked and that a family was living in. And this place reeked of weed. And heaven help us, we had picked the wrong place. But we ended up getting a room and ultimately ended up staying there. And the rest is history. Read into that what you will. So that started off the circus of a trip. The next morning, we get up, and he takes me down to the arena. I walk in through one of the entrances, I don't recall which, and I'm escorted by a Charlotte Hornets intern down to the Hornets side of the court, of the locker rooms. I proceed to walk in and shoot around because it's behind a ginormous black curtain, so you can't just walk through there. I walk in, and the Heat are shooting around. It's just, heck, it was just mostly Dwyane Wade, Hassan Whiteside messing around. I walk over to Michael, and he's like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, sorry, am I in the wrong place? I just had a hard time finding my way down here." And he's like, "Technically, man," he's like, if you were one of our beat writers, you'd get in a lot of trouble. You're not supposed to be in here right now. So if you go wait behind that curtain," and you pointed to the other side of the court, he's like, "We'll come grab you when we're ready. There's actually a few other people out there if you want to go talk with them." Those few other people were Ira Winderman at the South Florida Sun Sentinel, who I had read and followed on Twitter for years. Got to meet him. Jason Jackson, the Miami Heat Fox Sports South Florida team reporter. Man, was that a great conversation. I picked his brain for the entirety of the time beforehand. Just ask him, what was it like? What was it like, man? I watched you on TV as a kid, man. This is actually an honor. And obviously, he appreciated that, and he appreciated that I was there getting my reps in instead of going to class. A lot of us did that. We were encouraged to get experience rather than ace every test. I'll just say that, ace every exam. And there we were. There I was talking to a guy that I had watched for 4 straight years. I mean, I'd watched every year, but for that Big 3 experience, it just felt like Miami was in another echelon. The fact that I was there in their presence alone, it was an honor. And as much as people say, oh, I mean, they're just journalists. What are you talking about? Yeah, they might just be journalists, but back then a blue check mark on Twitter meant something. So they bring us in, and we go into shoot around. Obviously, the beat writers are just waiting to get their group scrum sessions. We do Coach Spoelstra, which is great talk. It was great to ask him questions. Now, keep in mind, you would think that I would be nervous coming into this, but I will tell you one thing about me is that as a student reporter, I was very stoic and very impatient. I didn't sit in the back and wait and just watch the pros do their job. I felt that I wouldn't get any better unless I had the guts to go ask the questions and actually get the rep in. So I would always sit in the front. I'd raise my hand when it was time for questions. Always usually got one, and I would interject in scrums like you're supposed to. I mean, just because I'm a student reporter doesn't mean I'm not here as a journalist to provide content for my outlet. So it was a great talk there. And then eventually we come over, and obviously I had asked about it. He's like, hey, listen, I got you Jay Rich one-on-one after. Y'all can just sit over there on the shoot around. He's like, but I know you mentioned to me that you wanted Dwyane. I was like, I'm sorry, but we cannot do a one-on-one. If it was last season and he wasn't retiring, maybe I could accommodate. He said he's very accommodating to special requests, but everybody wanted it that year. It was one last dance. That's why I knew I had to get this going, or else I would never get to interview D. Wade, specifically in the context of a beat writer setting, which was all I had dreamed of while watching these press conferences for 5-6 years. And lo and behold, he says, Dwyane's going to do a media scrum in 5 minutes. He's like, I would not normally do this, but you made the trip. I mean, it's admirable. He's like, if you want to go, he's sitting over there, man. Go have at it. I was like, what do you mean by have at it? It's like, he's like, I'm sorry, I can't let you get an autograph or a picture, but you can go talk to him. That's when I was nervous. Off the record, I was always nervous. Once the camera started rolling, I was in my element. I was nervous, and he could tell, and he played well into it. Obviously, couldn't really take any video until the scrum started, but here's just one of the first clips of our media scrum with D. Wade on March 6, 2019 in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Nah, it don't matter to me. Cool, it'd be a cool story. It'd be a cool story, but it don't matter.
Where does that rank as far as iconic moments in your career?
It don't matter to me.
And I apologize for restarting it. For those of you that don't know, they're talking about the purple shirt guy in 2016, if you don't remember.
Cool, it'd be a cool story. It'd be a cool story, but it don't matter.
Where does that rank as far as iconic moments in your career?
It's definitely a cool moment. A cool story. It's a cool story behind it. So I appreciate him for being a part of the story. It's added to the legend of my career. So thankful for it.
I was thankful for it too, because I was watching that game with my pawpaw. Unfortunately, he had stage 4 lung cancer at the time, and for the longest time I always watched games with him because he gave me a sense of comfort when I would be almost as nervous as probably some of the players, or probably like a first-year player would be going into some of these games. I remember LeBron's tour de force in Game 6 in Boston, 45-15-5. We watched that game together. He wasn't quite all the way there at this moment, so it wasn't 1,000% him, but for that 3 hours, which that game came down to the wire, and it was a great finish. D. Wade was at the forefront of that. It's one of the last great memories I do have with my pawpaw, and in fact, it could be the very last. And always enjoyed watching basketball with me, and I always loved hearing that. And it made me, because he loved the way that I sat and listened and I talked about it. It wasn't, of course, I get mad and whine like a little fanboy sometimes, but I mostly tried to objectively analyze the game and point out what's going wrong in a specific play, as if I was a coach and I knew more than the NBA coaches or more than the NBA players, as if we haven't all been there before. It was a great memory. That's why it was also surreal being on that very court where this happened. So I was just taking the moment in. And then obviously, it gets down to my chance to ask a question, and you think I was scared? Absolutely not.
Particularly looking forward to tonight being one of your last game in Charlotte?
Just the competition of it. I know what the environment is going to be like. It's just the competition of playing in a game that means something. So it means more to me when I can come back to a city for the last time and I'm playing in a game that means something. That means it's going to be a good basketball game, and you want to be a part of that. So looking to enjoy it.
I enjoyed it too, Dwyane. I enjoyed it too, man. And I will say, he was just gracious. He was great with the media. He always was. Great interview. I'd love one day if we can ever build this platform to a bit to large enough heights to get a second go at it, more personal this time, one-on-one. We'll see if that'll happen, but I'm a go-getter, so I'm going to go for it, and we're going to see where I end up. But overall, it was a great interview experience. My friend Jay picked me up after we were done with shoot-around. Obviously, I was getting everything transcribed before the story was written because it was a feature. It didn't really necessarily have a deadline. And we went to a hookah lounge in Charlotte to try to kill time. Smoked us a little shisha, tongue-tied there. They even threw a little bit of CBD in, and we had a couple of drinks before we went to the game. And we went to the game, and it was a good one. D Wade, big tribute. Got to see Tony Parker, even though he was, obviously not both of them coming off the bench. They weren't who they were before. Kemba Walker was fun to watch play. I will say that at that time. But it was a cool experience just because we watched D Wade and Tony Parker go at it in the NBA Finals in 2013 and 14. And we were watching it on the TV hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of miles away, thinking, man, what? Will we ever get to experience something in the vicinity of this? And we got to that night, and it was a great experience. The Heat ended up winning. Kelly Olynyk went crazy in the fourth quarter. If those of you that remember when Kelly Olynyk played for the Miami Heat in those down years, I should say. But this, and then, of course, what happens at a sports game? Every drunk fan, everyone was a D-Wade fan that night. My friend had to go get some Charlotte Hornets gear because he didn't have a Heat jersey, and, of course, they didn't sell it there. So that was us. This was us. After the game, taken by our drunk Miami Heat fan friend that we met for the night. Well, I couldn't say for the night, for that 10 minutes. And that's right outside what was then known as the Spectrum Center. And we went home that night, relaxed, went to sleep, and got up the next morning and headed home. What happened when we headed home? The car, I don't even remember what the... And if you're watching this, man, drop in the comments what was the issue with the car that night. Because I remember that, and I don't remember that night, that day. Remember we were going to have people come and pick us up? Oh, man. That is, oy. That was something else. And right now, I'm going to go ahead and drop into the comments the guest line link if those of you that potentially would want to weigh in on any topic in the world right now and come on the show and be a guest for 60 seconds. The floor is yours. I get the chance to respond. If you got the guts, step up and come on the show. Nobody has done it yet. I'm not that intimidating. I'm 5'10" on a good day, and I'm a redhead. Come on now. Come on. How intimidating can that possibly be? But as we all know, the Heat ended up missing the playoffs that season. D-Wade finished his career out with a 30-point game in Miami, then finished out with a 25-point triple-double in Brooklyn, a game that the Heat lost emphatically, although I don't think it really mattered because the only thing people were worried about at that moment was D-Wade's final assist for the triple-double being to Udonis Haslem from the mid-range, and LeBron, Carmelo, and CP3 all in attendance. Carmelo gets the final jersey swap, and I may or may not have shed a tear or two that night. May or may not. Let me know in the chat which one you think it was. I'm pretty sure it was the former. Because it was the end of an era. I mean, people, oh, you grown men, did you get too involved in sports? Yeah, I get it. Sometimes we do. Those of you that listen to Myron Gaines on Fresh and Fit, he makes some good points. What the fuck would you be doing? Pardon my language. Watching other grown men chase their goals. Maybe he got a point to a degree. But if it's that one 3-hour time period in a week where I take to just relax and enjoy myself, I could give a shit less if it's watching a professional sporting game. But do any of you have some? Give me 1 second. Any of you dealing with some internet issues today? Because I have definitely been doing up with that. All right. So, those of you that joined the show earlier, share your favorite D Wade memory. Those of you that are just tuning in, please like the video if you enjoyed it. Drop a comment. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and be sure to make sure you hit that bell button to get notified when we drop our live content and our daily content here on the Corey Sanding Show. But as I mentioned before, this episode's brought to you by VIP Play Tennessee, the brand new sportsbook app here exclusively in the state of Tennessee. As you see here, a lot of orange. All we got to do is go on here and we bet just like we bet in DraftKings, just like we bet in FanDuel. You can do parlays, you can do single game parlays, you can do player props, which is a big thing now, which they better not ever take away because I'll be devastated if they do. And like I said, all you got to do is use code CoreyTN for $100 in bonus bets after your first $20 wager. All you got to do is use the code when you sign up, and then once you place your first $20 bet, those bonus bets will appear in your account to use as you please. I actually had a friend of mine at my 9 to 5 that turned that into more than nearly $400. So those of you that don't want to take my word for it, take their word for it as well. VIP Play TN. Download the app in your Google Play Store and the Apple Store, and then use code CoreyTN for $100 when you place your first $20 bet. So, on to the next topic. So, Isaiah Likely, those of Ravens fans here, don't notice oh wow, look at me, that do not notice the helmet behind me. And obviously we haven't gotten the shelf taken care of yet. We will, trust me. But Isaiah Likely is going to be an unrestricted free agent this offseason in just less than a matter of 4 or 5 days. And he joined Kay Adams on the Up and Adams show again and spoke bluntly, honestly, about his future. Isaiah Likely is coming off of a a very disappointing 2025 campaign in which he missed the first 4 weeks of the season, I believe it was, or 5, with a foot injury, and then struggled to find his footing, no pun intended, after that. Had a lot of ball security issues. Obviously, he's most known for that play against Pittsburgh and Baltimore, where it was a touchdown, then they didn't call it a touchdown, then the league ultimately ruled that it was a touchdown. And then obviously makes the big play on 4th down in Pittsburgh to what should have won them the game. Tyler Loop misses the field goal wide right, and the rest is history. Jesse Minter is there. Isaiah Likely spoke with Kay Adams this morning, and she asked him bluntly, is there a door open for a possible return to Baltimore? And this is what Isaiah Likely had to say, and we'll react on the other side.
Is the door open to staying in Baltimore?
I mean, the door is, I tell everybody, the door is always open for Baltimore only because that's family. I mean, they took a chance on me on all 31 pass. And I tell them that to the fans, to the organization, to my teammates. But at the end of the day, I told everybody, every moment I get, business is business. I mean, it's just, I got to do right by me, right by my family, and right by, what I feel like I could do in this league. And I feel like, I've shown enough ability to be able to help out any quarterback, any situation, to be able to put points on the board and help offense.
Yeah, and he's got a point there. He definitely has. He's earned the right to test his market and see what value he can get. But for those of you that are Ravens fans, what did that interview scream to you? He's like, I mean, the door's always open for Baltimore because that's family. But I don't know. It's business. More than likely, he gone. Isaiah Likely, I'd be happy for him if he got paid like a tight end 1. According to reports, the Ravens did offer him top 5 tight end money. Unfortunately, they were unable to get a deal done. That's why they then turned their attention to Mark Andrews and gave him a little bit more of a team-friendly deal. Obviously, a lot of Ravens fans are upset about that. I was taken aback by it when the news first hit as well. I think At some point, the Ravens are loyal to a fault, and it's cost them dearly since their last Super Bowl run. I mean, they were loyal to Joe Flacco in 2016 and re-signed him, although they only made the playoffs once since that Super Bowl run, and he hadn't really played up to par of what they originally paid him. They were... Dude. I mean, they were loyal to Daniel Falele. Not on a contract extension, but giving the guy a chance. Heaven help me. And in the past 5-6 years, I mean, Mark Andrews has not scored one playoff touchdown and has not come through when it matters most, ever. I don't think I remember Mark Andrews making a big play down the stretch since that Colts game in 2021 when the Ravens were playing with house money because they were so injured on Monday Night Football. And they had to come back from down 24-9 to beat the Colts in the fourth quarter. A Colts team at that time that was led by Carson Wentz. And Rodrigo Blankenship, thank the Lord, missed so many kicks that they were able to come back in that game. Mark Andrews, I mean, a great guy and very, very, very inspiring story that you're able to overcome diabetes and play in the NFL and be an all-pro tight end, one of the great tight ends of this generation. But much like some of you say about Lamar, which is true to a degree, I'm not dismissing that, Mark Andrews needs to be held accountable for not coming through in big moments either. And then after that, not only that, after the Buffalo game in which he dropped the 2-point conversion and fumbled when they were driving to take the lead, he ducked the media for the entire offseason. Didn't talk to them after the game, didn't talk to them at locker cleanout. And that says a lot to me about Mark Andrews' character. And I hate to say it, I'm not sitting here being critical of the guy because he's better at his job than I'll ever be at anything. But when it comes down to it, Isaiah Likely usually makes the plays. And if he doesn't make the play, it's usually for circumstances beyond his control. Pardon, except for, he should have tucked the ball against the Steelers, and then obviously the Kansas City game where he had a toe out of bounds. I mean, whatever, give or take, he still caught the ball, and it was a tough catch. But how hard would it be to leave a two-time MVP in Lamar Jackson? I mean, they have such a great relationship and such a great chemistry, and it developed early on from when Isaiah Likely was drafted in 2022. Lamar sung his praises every training camp, every mandatory mini camp, and even when he was attending OTAs back then, which he does. Do not let the national media fool you. He hadn't been there the last 2 years, but he has been at OTAs, particularly when they installed a new scheme and obviously in his younger years when he needed a lot more improvement. But how hard would it be for Isaiah Likely to leave a Lamar Jackson? I mean, why don't you listen to his answer for yourself?
When every play breaks down, it's always going to you, and you guys have that chemistry. When he gets into scramble mode, it's you. You called him Houdini. Why are we leaving that quarterback? How? I mean, because, free agency, it's a business, but players are always drawn to the quarterback. There's not a big group of them. Not a lot of them have two-time MVP next to their name. How hard is that? How hard is it to leave Al?
Man, I mean, I feel like it won't hit me until it hits me. That's one of those feelings. And that's just because, I can never see myself I tell, even when I go back home, to Massachusetts, and the kids are asking me, how's Lamar? How is it playing with Lamar? Because it's he's a superhero to them. And to me, it's just I can call L at any point in the day and just chop it up on the phone with him, make jokes, do whatever, and he'll answer. So it's, it's really just one of those feelings where it hasn't really hit me yet because technically I haven't left, quote unquote. So it's just, just bearing in the moment, but it's also separating the business side from the family side. And I feel like L understands, where I'm at right now in, free agency talks and contract talks on, where it could go.
You happen to notice he basically accepted the fact that he would not be back in Baltimore. I mean, that's pretty telling. And I think everyone's come to the conclusion at this point that that's not going to be the case. Once free agency begins, a lot of people see him going back to New England. Heaven help me if this man ends up in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. Oh, man. I ain't going to say he's going to be dead to me because he won't. I appreciate all the Isaiah Likely's done for the Ravens, but MF, that's the ops. Come on now. But Isaiah Likely, as I said, he's got a lot of potential, and a lot of reports came from the draft combine that a lot of teams do see that tight end potential in him, and I don't blame them. A lot of that came from his 2024 season when he was seemingly on the rise. Obviously, this season did not go as he had planned. He scored 1 touchdown, fumbled the ball twice, had more turnovers than scores. 22 receptions for 307 yards. After 2024, when he posted 42 catches for 477 yards and 6 touchdowns, only fumbled it once. Isaiah Likely this season didn't really do himself many favors for securing a long-term contract with anybody. He's going to get it regardless, but he possibly could have had more money had he been a bigger part of the offense, because Andrews was not an enormous part of the offense this year, nor was he. The year before he had 11 touchdowns, but didn't produce a lot in the yards category. I'll be happy for him to get paid. I root for the players to get paid. It'll suck, but it is a business at the end of the day, and he's earned the right to test the market, and I think that's what he's going to do. Did his teammates, did Lamar ever go to Eric DaCosta and say, like, hey, if Isaiah ever text him and say, hey, if you talk to EDC about keeping me and give me my bag, let's find out.
Has Lamar tried to inject himself into that, or is that?
As a brother, yes, but also L loves me as a player. It was going crazy. I think Bleacher Report had posted Isaiah Likely will be his next team will be, and then L tweeted out at Ravens. Because that's my brother. He wants me side by side with him all the time because, like you said, we built a relationship and chemistry on the field that was just getting started. I felt like. So, he'll always tell me, I got a place with him, but he understands that business is business and he wants to honestly do right by me.
Does Declan Doyle get hired and call you? Have you talked to him?
I've only talked to the position coach at the Ravens. I haven't talked to nobody else.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Has Lamar?
Okay, I agree with you. I don't like that either. And they also did confirm that Isaiah has not talked to new coach Jesse Minter, and I think that's telling. I think at the end of the day, the fat lady singing on Isaiah Likely in Baltimore, he did just say, we thought our connection was just getting started. Obviously, they didn't. They wanted to see if he could get more money than the Ravens were willing to offer him. I'm happy that they at least tried to pay him. I think they probably should have tried harder because long term, I think you keep Isaiah Likely and then you give Andrews an even more of a team-friendly deal. Now you're going to be left with Charlie Kolar, who's maybe could get bigger money elsewhere, but do you want to pay him? Do you want to up the ante to bring him back? Because he was a pass-catching tight end in college, and obviously he's been more of the nitty-gritty, do the dirty work type of tight end since he's came to Baltimore. He's blossomed in that role, but he is capable of being the pass catcher, and he's shown that. But is he as athletic? Is he that receiver after the catch tight end like Isaiah Likely is? I don't know, and I don't think he's proven that yet, and I don't think he is, to be completely honest. Isaiah Likely, it's going to be a situation where he's just going to have to do what's best for him, and what's best for him may just be taking the money elsewhere. If he goes home to the Patriots, they did just make the Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to go back next year nor the year after that, so we'll see what happens there. I just, hats off to him if he gets paid elsewhere. I would be head over heels ecstatic if he wound up staying in Baltimore. I don't think that's going to be the case, unfortunately, just because of the nature of the business, and they still have to get Tyler Linderbaum re-signed, which they have not done yet, and that's even more reason to be nervous as a Ravens fan as free agency approaches, because you could be losing your all-world center. And they're going to have to not only get a couple new guards, or at least one new guard, they could end up having to replace a center, and we all know what happened after Matt Burke retired. It was a circus for many, many years trying to get that position under wraps, and they finally struck gold with Tyler Linderbaum, and hopefully that gold doesn't walk out like the California Gold Rush. That's all I can say about that. But what do you all think? Please drop a comment in the live chat. Those of you that are tuning into this show tonight, I do appreciate it. I have a little bit less than we typically do. But obviously, not everyone tunes in on every night, so I can't get mad at that. Final topic of the day. Those of you that have followed the Raiders situation with Max Crosby, those of you that have followed Tom Brady for years know this name. Alex Guerrero. Alex Guerrero, according to reports, is starting to frustrate many of the players, particularly Max Crosby with the Raiders, by his presence alone. The Athletic reported this today. And it could be a large reason why Max Crosby wants out in Vegas, because he, according to him, Guerrero, or not according to him, but according to reports, Guerrero just wants too much of a voice in there, when in reality he's their wellness coordinator because Tom Brady is a minority owner. And that's the case. That's the case to it. Oops, pardon me. This report right here, this article is written obviously by Pro Football's Mike Florio, and we're going to go through it a little bit. As the Raiders continue to work their way through an unworkable relationship with defensive end Max Crosby, it remains to be seen whether they'll give him the trade he wants. Obviously, time will tell. They are asking for a hefty asking price. Obviously, it's been 4 weeks since Jay Glazer reported that he was done and he will not play for the Raiders again. And this week, they've shown the willingness to move him. Question is whether they'll do it if the best offer falls short of what they're asking for, which has reportedly been 2 first-round picks and if not serviceable starter, a star player. Florio quotes here in a comprehensive item taking a closer look at Crosby's desire to make a fresh start. Mike Silver of The Athletic dropped an intriguing nugget regarding the right-hand man of the Raiders' minority owner, Tom Brady. Crosby and others aren't thrilled with Guerrero's presence. Quote, like many players and coaches, Crosby was frustrated by the presence of Alex Guerrero, a staunch Brady ally whose official title is wellness coordinator, Silver writes. Quote, Guerrero, who regularly attends practices and meetings, purports to possess significant organizational power, informing players of impending transactions and even indicating to staff members who don't follow his instructions that their jobs may be at risk. I mean, really? This guy? Isn't this the same Alex Guerrero that caused a stir and an uproar in Tom Brady's final few years in New England because Bill Belichick was just tired of this guy trotting along like he was some important figure when he's just Tom Brady's right-hand man and he's riding the coattails of his friend? I mean, what notable accomplishment has Alex Guerrero had in the NFL aside from being Tom Brady's little right-hand man? And Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback ever, but is that really because of Alex Guerrero? I mean, Tom Brady got to the point where people were asking him questions and pressing him about it, and he'd hang up on radio interviews that he did every week in New England. He would walk out of press conferences. He just never wanted to talk about it. And why did he never want to talk about it? Is there something fishy going on? Don't know if there's something fishy, but it looks like this guy thinks that he's more important than he is. As Silver explains it, the internal perception is that Guerrero has a direct pipeline to Brady, which he does, which makes sense given that Brady's job with Fox keeps Brady from being around the team on a regular basis. So he's basically, what's he trying to be Tom Brady without Tom Brady being there? Could that be the case? Maybe. Do I still have much respect for Alex Guerrero, the tagger on? No, I do not. It's a byproduct of Brady's insistence on wearing 2 hats. Obviously, he's not giving up that contract at Fox. We'll get into whether he's lived up to his hype as the greatest player ever in his commentary or not at a later date. Because he can't be all in with the Raiders. He needs a role, and apparently he has one, which, as Silver notes, creates real trust issues in the building. Where's the trust at? Players have to trust you if they're going to want to play for you and go out and give their all each and every given Sunday and fight like hell to get a win, especially in a situation like the Raiders where Max Crosby is in really a no-win situation because the Raiders aren't going to be competing for a championship anytime soon. They might not make the playoffs again for another decade. Who knows? But Mike Florio continues, while Crosby's reasons for wanting out extend well beyond Guerrero, it's a symptom of a deeper issue. No one can handle the full-time job of running a football organization on a part-time basis, and that's what Tom Brady is doing. Brady's effort to do so will make it even harder to turn around a team that has 2 playoff appearances and no postseason wins since 2002. Yeah, I kind of agree with him. Mike Florio and I don't agree on everything, but we do agree we stand hand in hand in unison on this topic. Alex Guerrero, they're just wherever he goes, there's controversy and there's trouble. And it always ends up reaching the top somehow. In New England, it reached Bill Belichick. And then obviously, being with Tom Brady, Oh. Well, I didn't plan on sharing this, and I do apologize for the dead air for a second, but we all know, Antonio Brown, he's not the most trustworthy individual in the world, but given this controversy, Antonio Brown is not one to shy away from his opinion, and I cannot believe I'm about to put this on the screen, but for the audio-only audience, it's a text message that Antonio Brown shared reportedly with Alex Guerrero. This was regarding charging him $100,000 and never doing the work on me. How you even work with people like this? This is what I was dealing with. The text says, "Hey, AG, Alex Guerrero, if we're not going to work anymore, that's fine. Let me know about the $100K I paid you. Only fair to get back half of my money. Let me know how to proceed." Agreed. "Good morning, AB. I appreciate you reaching out to me. I completely understand that you want to go in a different direction. Thank you for the opportunity to work together. You are a wonderful person. I hope for your continued success on and off the field. Please let me know where you want me to send the balance. Big hugs, my friend, i.e., you're not getting your money back from me." Sounds like something that Alex Guerrero would do, given the reports that surround this guy. Do I buy Creed? Do I put stock into everything that AB says? Hell no. Alex Guerrero just always sticks his nose where it doesn't belong, and like I said, it always leads to trouble within the organizations that Alex Guerrero would never have access to if he wasn't Tom Brady's, what do we call him, Tom Brady's butt buddy? I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's even a report from Forbes from January 2nd, 2016 that says Tom Brady's financial ties to body coach Alex Guerrero are a legitimate scandal. Those of you who remember that? That's where the questions came from heading into training camp, where Tom Brady walked off the set and it's just like, "I have no comment. That's ridiculous." No, Tom, it wasn't ridiculous. And I'm going to share this on the screen again. Here's another comment that Brady made in 2017 during the infamous glove press conference when he just wasn't answering questions regarding Alex Guerrero. "Tom Brady on if Alex Guerrero's situation has created strain on working relationship with Bill Belichick. No, I just tried to show up and do the right thing and try to win football games. I let my play do the talk." Of course, he did not address the question. That's what Tom Brady does when he's asked questions he doesn't like. He deflects, or he just doesn't answer and he walks away. Can't really blame him there, because if I had a shady trainer that was an expert and was just creating all this chaos for no good reason, I would probably say the same thing. I really don't know what else to say other than that. But Alex Guerrero, wherever this guy goes, there's trouble, there's turmoil brewing. It's happened for 10 years now, because that was in 2016. This is now 2026. I know it's hard to comprehend. I still struggle with it sometimes. Trust me. Back then, I was 19. I'm now 29. That doesn't sit well with me either. But what do you all think? Does Alex Guerrero, does he make it? Should great players be able to have their trainer involved in the organizations, their personal body coach? I don't think Lamar does. I think the Ravens have their own strength and conditioning coach. Maybe Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan's trainer was Tim Grover. Tim Grover is one of the greatest ever and stays in his own lane and doesn't get involved with the organizations. He is a personal trainer. Tim Grover's book, Relentless. I highly recommend it, and I would honestly put it on the screen right now if I had the cover. But let me know in the comments what you all think. I do appreciate you all for tuning into this episode of the Corey Sanding Show. It will be available on the audio-only versions here shortly. We'll also have more clips from the show as well. Those of you that are just tuning in, please like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. Like the video. Saying that twice in the same sentence. But make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified when we drop our content. Good luck to you all on this Wednesday evening. It was a lovely evening, except for the crowd that I experienced at the gym, which we'll talk about at another date. But until next time, I am out.